Today we find ourselves looking down the mall toward the Washington Monument and the Lincoln Memorial. It looks so peaceful today, so well ordered, despite the foreboding clouds. These dark clouds, which loom over the scene, help us reimagine the events of January 6, 2021, when hordes of, what do we call them? Let's say people, for the moment, were gathered for a morning rally on the ellipse, just to the right of the Washington Monument as we see it from here. Then, around noon, some moved towards us on the mall. Some on Pennsylvania Avenue, just to the right of the mall, and many more down Pennsylvania Avenue, which we see at full length here. Some poured onto the lawns to the right and onto the steps behind us. They scaled the portico in front of the House of Representatives and the steps at the center of the building, then finally breaking into the building. The House and Senate were meeting in joint session with then Vice President Pence to certify the vote from the November election. By the time the people broke into the Capitol, it quickly became clear that they were not just individuals, certainly not tourists, but in reality insurgents acting in a mob to stop the certifying of the vote. The prophet Joel, reacting to the destruction of the Jerusalem temple in our first reading, helps us express our own feelings. Gird yourselves and weep, O priests. Wail, O ministers of the altar. Come, spend the night in sackcloth, O ministers of my God. The house of your God is deprived of offering and libation. Is this the end of our country, we might ask, of our democracy? The prophet continues, Alas the day, for near is the day of the Lord, and it comes as ruin from the Almighty. Blow the trumpet in Zion, sound the alarm on my holy mountain. Let all who dwell in the land tremble, for the day of the Lord is coming. Yes, it is near, the day of darkness and of gloom, a day of clouds and somberness. Though these events are 32 months old, they may seem much too close for comfort as we stand in this very place, and especially since we now know what will come next. For a time after the inauguration of the new president, it seemed as though some kind of normalcy had returned. The repaired, cleaned up, and neatly maintained facade of this noteworthy building shored up this impression. And yet, subsequent events, notably recent bomb throwing in the House of Representatives, make it seem as though things, in fact, are much worse. You might feel as though Jesus had it just right in today's gospel, as he describes the operations of evil. When an unclean spirit goes out of someone, it roams through arid regions searching for rest. But finding none, it says, I shall return to my home from which I came. But upon returning, it finds it swept clean and put in order. Then it goes and brings back 7 other spirits, more wicked than itself, who move in and dwell there. And the last condition of that man is worse than the first. Today is Friday the 13th, but our challenge is not to confront our superstitions about the day, but rather to know how to react to the events we relive here, events and their aftermath that suggest a day of judgment is upon us. If we have doubts, even the climate makes its feelings known. And yet we must not lose hope. Evil cannot prosper. The resurrecting Jesus broke the ultimate power of evil and death, and he is now both the Lord of the living and of the dead. His kingdom will come, his will be done. For our parts, we must remain faithful, believe what we have been taught, do what we feel inspired to do, and trust in the Lord's coming, each moment of each day, for us and for all.